Required minimum distributions are good problems in most cases. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, I have an RMD issue, the reality is that means that you've saved and invested really well in a 401k or IRA, and now you're projected to have to take out more money than you'll ever need. So good job, because you're in a position where you might literally need more money than you could try to spend. At the same time, it can create a very large tax issue, not just for yourself, for your spouse, potentially your children. Now, I'm going to go through this flow chart that you're going to see on my screen right now in today's episode, where we discuss what issues should you consider when reviewing your RMD. General issues, tax issues, it's going to be a ton of fun. I love getting to make these videos. Please know that I make these videos from reading your guys' comments, thinking of what would be helpful. So if you look at my screen here, what you're going to see, this is a comment thread from a recent video. And I'm a very transparent person. I talk very loosely about what you guys want, and I am going to address them. That's what I'll always do on this channel. I am Taublieb. I'm a certified financial planner and host of the Early Retirement Podcast. Now, what you can see here is this is a comment that was literally left a day ago, and this person says millions and millions over and over again to the crowd that don't even have millions or even a million. Millions is what advisors are begging for to make money. We all know this is a fact. That's not most of us, not even 2%. So grow a pair. Young man, let's talk to the masses, please. This person goes on to say, well, those poor souls can't pay his fees. Financial advisors cater to wealthy souls only. Caroline here, it's his show. He can talk to whatever audience he wants. If it doesn't meet your needs, maybe you should look for a different show. Photo Boy says, that's why he's offering so much of his advice to all of us who don't have the minimum of 2 million. He has said so many times throughout his collection of videos and podcasts, thankful for his advice and the access to his calculator that he uses himself for his clients. So with that being said, let me be very honest. I did not enter the industry so that I could only help people that have $2 million as a minimum in assets. The reality is we only have so many team members, and as we grow, we will decrease that minimum. What I will not do is have current service suffer, and because of that, we have a $2 million minimum. The majority of our clients reaching out are trying to retire early, they've saved and invested really well, and they want help with Roth conversions, estate planning, insurance, estate, I already said estate, withdrawal, healthcare. They don't want a new job having to do this. So for many of you, I hope that you simply can be educated from these videos and recognize what you can do so you're not in a position where you have a potential tax burden. It is not my dream to only help people that have these amount of assets, because my parents don't even have this in assets. And my job, when I told myself I entered the industry, was to help more people like my parents so that they're not taken advantage of, because they were burned by multiple advisors, which is why I became an advisor. If you want the full story, you can hear it if you go to earlyretirementpodcast.com. You'll see, if you just click the about, truly who I am, why I do this, and why at the beginning, the last thing I wanted to do was become an advisor. Now, we're going to hop into today's episode, but I want you to actually just understand why is it we're talking about this. These RMDs. A client once told me, hey, Ari, I know I'm in a good position when I have excessive RMDs. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, when I know I'm going to have to take out more than I could even spend, that's when I know I'm in a good spot. I still want to be smart about it, but that's when I'm in a good position. Now, before we go through the issues here, I like to use real life examples in my videos. And one of the things I offer, regardless of how much money you have, $2 million or $2, is this software. You can get this in the description of this video. For a few $100, you can actually build your own plan, create your own strategy with the same tool I use for my clients. Here's a real example. So this couple is 60 and 59. They are planning to retire at 61 and 60. So this is their income today. They bring in $346,000 between both of them. They want to spend $131,000 a year. They pay a lot in taxes today. They're saving well to their 401k. They have a really good financial plan. They're going to retire in 2027 and have no more income. They're going to need $112,000 plus goals. Their goals are extra vacation plus pay some taxes. So they need $131,000. Now, their portfolio can support that because they'll have about $2.2 million at that time. Now, I want you to focus on this column here. today's video, planned distributions, aka RMDs. These are required distributions that begin, for most people, at age 75, such as this couple, but it starts at as early as 73. And let me show you why this can be a problem. So if you are 75 years old and your RMDs begin, reminder, they only begin and apply when you have pre-tax dollars. So if you have a brokerage account or Roth IRA, you don't have to worry about it. If you've inherited an IRA or you have a personal IRA or 401k, you do want to worry about it. So not worry about it, that's the wrong word. You want to plan for it. So $128,000, this is what would be coming in from Social Security, adjusted for inflation for them. They're going to have another $145,000 from these RMDs, whether they want to or not. So $273,000, that is what we call our total inflows. That's what's coming in the door. Now, let's put a little divider here. Now they have expenses. In 2040, the same $131,000 of today, well, they're going to need $150,000 to just maintain that standard of living. They're going to spend $21,000 on vacation, so they need $171,000 plus $50,000 to pay for taxes. So they need $222,000 in 2040, but they have $273,000 coming in. So what's $273,000 minus $222,000? $50,000. Okay, so $50,000, that's how much money is excess that they could choose to spend or do whatever they want with. Here's the kicker. All of this gets taxed at their highest marginal bracket. So if they're in California, this could legitimately be taxed at nearly 50%. This is a significant tax burden. And what you don't want to do is just sit on your hands and say, I'll deal with it then, because if you even do choose to spend it, you're not taking 50 home. You might be taking 25 or 30,000 of that home. So I'm going to give you a solution to this today, but let's make sure you understand what to consider. So first thing, is your RMD more than what you need for living expenses? If the answer is no, this is not something you need to worry about. It's just part of your plan. It's only when there's excess. So if you have a large RMD, because most of your money's in a 401k, what I talk about a lot are Roth conversions, moving money from your 401k to a Roth to save on taxes. You don't need to do that if you, for example, want to spend, I don't know, let's say $200,000 a year. If this couple I showed you wanted to spend $200,000 a year, let me show you a real example of this because it's cool to see in real time. So let's use this number here. They spend $131,000 today. In 2040, they're going to spend $150,000. So let's go back to their plan here. Once again, if you want to go build your own plan, you can do this. Their base case was they wanted to spend $8,000 a month. What if we ramp that up to $12,000 a month? You'll see they're not on track for $5 million anymore, but they're trying to just pass away with $400,000, which is not most people. I'm just being a little dramatic to show you guys how the planning can really work here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this new knowledge and we're going to go look at the cash flow that we just looked at on the other page. So if I go back, do you remember before, if we went to 2040, it said here that they were going to have a big RMD plan distribution. Remember before this was 271 coming in the door. Now their expenses are way larger, 220,000 a year. So 201 is coming in the door and 300 is going out the door. You see how all of these have parentheses here? That means there's not a tax issue, which means they don't need to worry about their RMDs. So that's the first thing. Now, thinking about, is this an inherited account? There's an entirely set of rules for that. So you're going to want to check that out. Are you eligible for any exceptions? Are you still working? Is it the first year you're subject to an RMD? There are things that sometimes will allow you to postpone regarding timing. Now, do you still need to review your tax withholding? What a lot of people do is they don't even put a tax withholding, and then all of a sudden they have a huge tax bill or they're hit with penalties because they didn't actually look at this intentionally. Do you plan to do any Roth conversions? This helps you minimize your RMD. What you do with the Roth conversion is you decide to pay a little bit in taxes today. Let's assume I'm retired, I'm 60. Why would I wait until I'm 75 to pay 50% in taxes when I'm currently at a 10% tax bracket? I might say I'm happy to pay tax at 10% to avoid paying at 30 or 40% in the future. That's what you're doing with the Roth conversion. Now, do you have any other income coming in from a brokerage account, capital gains, dividends, interest? Are you considering to doing charitable distributions through what's called a QCD? This allows you, once you're over 70 and a half, you can give money directly from your IRA to a charity. Why on earth would you do that? That's going to save you RMD issues in the future, because with an IRA or 401k, you get a deduction in the year you put money in. It grows, you pay no taxes, and when you take the money out, that's when you pay taxes. So with this option, you can actually get a deduction and then at 70 and a half, decide to start moving money from your IRA or 401k directly to a charity so that your RMD is much smaller. Now, what I just went through are some key considerations here. This is a flowchart, checklist, if you will. I have lots of these that I use for my clients. Now, we're going to go ahead and show you, to finalize this video, the impact of good planning and why we need to be intentional here. So we're going to go back to the plan and say they don't want to spend $12 a month. They want to spend their original $8,000 a month. So their original $8,000 a month presented what's called an RMD issue. Now, if we click on the tax button here, this is where we start to get creative. Stick with me here because this is a lot, but I know, and it should be a ton of fun, hopefully. It's fun for me because I'm weird like this. But what you can see is if someone were to try to just do Roth conversions because they really don't want an RMD issue, it might actually result in less dollars, where it would be better to do nothing at all. Other times, it can make a big difference. So let's pretend that they have children and they're going to inherit at 30% tax bracket if they were to pass away because their children are doing well, living in a high state tax like myself. And pretend they want to fill up to the 22% bracket. Well, guys, you can see that's a big deal. That's $340,000 more dollars. So the dark blue ocean color, that is them filling up these different tax brackets. All of these lines here are different tax brackets. This blue line is the 10%. The green is the 12. The orange is the 22. The deep orange is the 20, is the 24. So the green that's being filled up here, that's all intentional Roth conversions. You can see here, let's pretend they don't have any children, which they don't in this couple. Is it helpful to do this? No, it wouldn't make as much sense to do Roth conversions. What if they have heirs that it's going to go to, but they don't want to over convert because they really want to spend more money? Okay, now it would make a marginal difference to do this. So Roth conversions get a lot of hype because they can help a lot. You saw it could add hundreds of thousands of dollars. At the same time, sometimes it's better to do nothing at all. So make sure if you have an RMD issue that you're planning really intentionally for it. Hopefully this video answered a lot of questions for you. If you want access to the software, it's in the description of this video. If you want the full service that we offer here at Root, where we do everything, the tax, the estate, the healthcare, the withdrawal, the insurance, that is what we do here at Root. We do all of this so you don't have a new job in retirement having to manage your portfolio. We partner alongside you to make sure everything happens seamlessly. Now, once again, I really appreciate you watching this video. Please like this, please comment if there is something you learned, and share it with someone you want to retire early with. I'll see you guys next time.